enough, I was listening to Smile, you know, the early stuff before Queen, and you can hear those harmonies.
Yeah.
You know, the way they scoop up to the top harmony.
And it's the rasp, to have that pitch,
Yeah.
like almost the American rock pitch.
Yeah, they already had it for Queen. You know what I mean? It was already there, that sound, if you listen to the early
And what with
Smile
Brian
tracks.
having what I would describe as a sort of relatively choir boy kind of voice, like quite pure and relatively soft, it just locked in, you know?
Yeah, brilliant.
So you're right, the basis was there, you know? Anyway, so we, I think, what would we do? I do recall really enjoying, once I'd worked out how to do it, Stone Cold Crazy, still one of my favourite songs.
It was on Sheer Heart Attack, I think, wasn't it?
It was an odd thing. No, I liked it. I really liked it. It just, the fact that it had these stops as well was just so unusual. There was this weird stuff going on that I didn't really understand.
Right.
These guys are older than me. They're obviously more professional and want to be really professional, so let's just go with it, you know? And I think my other particular favourite, Son and Daughter.
Sure.
Just a great riff, you know?
So Freddie arrives.
Yeah. So we're bashing on. I'm going, this is great, having fun, being me. And, well, Freddie arrives. Well, I think you'd have to say Freddie made an entrance, really.
Well,
it's Freddie. You know?
as he should.
I mean, bearing in mind, I don't know these guys from Adam, and I don't know what's gone before. I mean, I've learned subsequently quite a lot went before, but at that time. So the double doors at the top of the stairs open, and he comes with, who I later learned to be Mary on his arm, and they parade down the steps. And that's really it. And it's definitely Hello Darlings. It really was. Now, which might sound weird to a lot of people, particularly now, but if you're living in London and listening to like Radio 2 comedy shows and stuff, camp was a very normal part of the way things were said and done back then, you know? It didn't mean gay, it didn't mean homosexual, it just meant camp. It was just a form of humour.
Sure.
And with his bohemian look, and he did look very bohemian, even I could tell that at that age, you know, and his weird, bizarre kind of, I don't know whether it was rabbits or cat's jacket or whatever it was, he was very strange. But he just had this persona. And that was great. So we started running through some things and I thought, oh, they have got a singer. Oh, that's better. The style of singing, you could have a discussion about. I mean, obviously nothing leaps into this world fully formed. And that's especially true of him. But you could see there was stuff, there was so much energy, even in a rehearsal room, but the sound wasn't really up to much. But, you know, in fact, if anyone who wants to really know what I'm talking about, if you go and listen to any of the Delane Lee demos, you'll hear what I mean. There's no big power, that grew, and he developed it, you know. And
this was about, what, 3 years before the first album was released?
Yeah, this will be early 71. I think late 73 was it, I think? They did
the
first album.
Yeah, it would be 73, I think. So up there, just a band on the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a charming guy called Paul Conroy who's a promoter, or he worked for Charisma Agency or one of those kind of things. And he seemed to, I think he got on with Roger quite well. So he was the guy that managed to get a couple of gigs together. So after a bit of rehearsing, a few weeks, whatever it was, we've got 2 gigs to do. So my demise is getting closer every time I talk to you. But I was quite excited about this because this was by far and away the best people I'd ever played with.
Right.
Bearing in mind the difference when you're 17 and the guys you're playing with are 22, 23, whatever it is, that's a big difference in age. And may well have something to do with how things turned out. But very exciting. So again, John Harris, being the fantastic guy he is, managed to huckle up a van and we head off to Hornsey Town Hall in North London. Now, I'm not quite sure what language I can use here, but it was a real shithole.
Right.
It was one of these old, massive council buildings, sort of gothic-y, and just vast, and this huge hall. And so we're down here, waiting, it's Pink Fairies up here and all that kind of stuff, we're going to be the main band. So we get told to start the set, and we walk into what can only be described as a darkened basement room. That's what it felt like, but it was huge. You felt if you shouted, the echo would come back next week, you know? And of course, there were no punters there. I think half a dozen people. I met one person once who said he was actually there, but not convinced. So it was empty. So it felt like you were doing almost a rehearsal, but with the lights turned off. Because again, junior band, no lights, no nothing. So my memory of that gig, which was, I mean, I was still enjoying it because it was new music to me. I thought it was all great. Brian really played up a storm. I love the way, I mean, Roger used to hit those drums like he was beating up his mortal enemies. It was fantastic. I'd never been with a drummer who hit things that bloody hard. Really fantastic. So much energy, you know. Anyway, I digress. Where were we? Yeah, so the downside was everyone was a bit humpty, a bit upset at all this. You could see that no one was happy. And Freddie did most of the gig with his back to the hall.
Was this a support slot, or was it?
Oh, it was a very support. It was down there, and there was there, and then there was Pink Fairies at the top. So it wasn't. It was very support, and the people that were there were still in the bar. Right, and really, that sums it up. It was just. It wasn't an appropriate gig for those guys or the band, or call it what you will.
So not a great gig.
Not a great gig, but I still had fun.
Of course. Second gig.
Well, different kettle of fish.
That was Kingston, wasn't it? I think.
Kingston Polytechnic in Surrey. So again, all very much in the area of the target. So, I mean, 20-minute bus ride from the centre of town almost. It's fantastic. Lovely place. They had a big proper hall with a proper stage, a bit of a proscenium, some built-in theatrical lights. It actually looked good.
Right.
It felt good. And it was the first time also I'd ever seen a big PA. Because Yes, who we were supporting, had bought Iron Butterfly's touring rig, which were these huge, big W bins. Not that I'm a techno geek or anything, but except that I am. And it was the first time I'd ever seen an Altec Lansing mixing desk with meters and knobs and power amps. It was fantastic. And we thought this is good. And even better, because they didn't want to mess about, we had to play through Yes's backline. So I got to stick my bass into Chris Squire's dual showman with his twin 15-inch Gauss cabinets. I was happy, you know. I was really happy. Now, also, I happened to live in that general area, so there was probably about 20 people in the audience that I knew. So that was quite nice too, you know. Some ways makes you feel a bit better. Problem was, I was having such a good time that it would appear that I rather upset Freddie quite a lot, who thought I was kind of doing the upstaging thing. Now, in my way of living your life, you cannot upstage a singer because the singer is the key. It doesn't matter how good the musicians are or how great the sound. At the end of the day, as far as the general public is concerned, singers kind of it. And by that time, he was being it. I mean, he was much, because of the environment, he was much more outgoing. It was good. I thought it was great, you know. But he didn't. And even a few years, sometime later, I heard that Brian had said that, I didn't understand it. Doug was bouncing about in a most peculiar manner. And I think, you've been reading too much P.G. Wodehouse, mate. It was a weird thing. I'd just joined a band called Queen, which in those days very definitely meant a member of the gay society in down there. I don't know if it's the same in the rest of the country. So it was very, very camp. You can't just stand there looking miserable. You're in a band called Queen. You should be having a good time. But it took Brian a couple of years, I think, to work out that you should look like you're having a good time on stage.
And did famously Chris Squire tell him off for noodling on the
yeah,
piano?
He was having a little twiddle on the Joanne in one of the back rooms. He was quite rude. Yeah.
Well, Chris Squire, yeah.
Was quite rude, but he was bloody good. But it's that weird thing that some people are a wee bit arrogant and they've got a lot to back it up, but it's unbalanced. Somehow, I don't think you could really say that about him. It's a shame because he was a really fantastic player.
Amazing player. So the gig doesn't go well?
No, the gig doesn't go well. The gig goes very unwell. And of course, before we got on stage, I'd already had a telling off from Freddie because I'd had to find white jeans. I'm a 17-year-old and I had to find white jeans. So what have I got? Oh, I know, I've got those ones from dressing up last year, which, remember the days you used to cut your jeans up to your knee and insert some crushed velvet in purple? Well, that's what the jeans I had was. So I had to rapidly cut the stuff out, kind of bring them back together again. And I had a white shiny-ish shirt thing, but it had the very, very palest of mauve snakeskin print going through it. You can tell it was 1971, can't you? And it just set him off. So I was already the bad boy. What can I tell you? So, it all wrapped up. I still had a great time. I loved playing that music, and I thought I played it pretty well.
So where was that whole scene played out in the back of the van?
Well, then we wrap up. We did stay on to watch Yes, though, who were fantastic. So I'm really pleased about that. It's the only time I ever saw them live. apart from an acoustic thing many, many years later. Anyway, yeah, so we wrap up. We're in the van. Now, I don't know how these box transits are, the ones used for moving furniture. They have a kind of a fiberglass roof,
Sure.
and the light comes in. So we're sitting in this gloomy, dark spot with this kind of orange streetlight kind of glow bouncing off of us all, in our white gear and everything. And, and it's literally sitting on a speaker cabinet time, whilst John tries not to go around the corner too fast, so he don't go, wah! Anyway. And just out of the blue, although quite quickly, Freddie just went out on a rant. Total rant. That was rubbish. That was appalling. It was terrible. And he was addressing the universe. It was terrible. I'm never doing this again. That was complete rubbish. And I thought, oh, it was good. Oh, okay. Now, when you're 17, bands come and go. So to be truthful, I thought nothing more about, oh, that's a terrible shame. What a waste of energy, because these guys are going to be something, you know? Sure. And I was rather hoping to be part of it. But there's two ways of looking at that. Either he liked to be hysterical anyway, which I suspect possibly did happen occasionally. Right. Was he just being nice and not just telling me to F off? I don't know. You'd have to ask him, and that's a bit difficult these days. So there you go, and that was me. So I just buggered off and started another band.
So you were never officially fired?
No. I can honestly say I was never fired. I wasn't invited back. I'm not sure that really counts. Put it this way, I'm not sure I have any real legal redress, you know what I mean?
So do you think there was that conversation was maybe to sort of maybe let you go easy?
I don't know. I just wish they'd said what they meant. If they'd said what they wanted was some quiet bloke to sit up the back and not get in the way, well, funnily enough, I could have done that. But nobody said, and I was a bit brilliant. In fact, John Harris, the roadie, who then became the sound guy and effectively the tour manager, when we met a couple of years back, he was doing an interview at the Queen Convention.
Right.
And one of the cheeky sods in the audience, he knew I was around, and he said to John, so what was Doug really like then? I mean, you know, was he really such a pain in the arse, like everyone seemed to think? And what was his playing like? Which reason did he get pushed? And thank you, John. He said, the bass playing was immaculate, but he was rather flamboyant. Well, fair enough. I hoist on my own petard, I suppose.
They were so reserved themselves.
Well, yeah.
Is the thing we loved about Queen. We love about them is that over the top, wonderful campness.
You see, but it took them a while to get there.